Big tech is in bed with Big Con. The people you thought, the people I thought were fighting for you, a lot of it has been a big con. Now, I'm specifically avoiding naming names or going after individuals in this video because I genuinely hope that those I'm addressing, and you know who you are, have a change of heart. Don't sign these contracts. I now know what you are signing out there. I have the luxury of not having to. Let me go through this. If any of the major platforms issues a content strike such that Crowder cannot be monetized on such platform, the fee will be reduced by 25%. And then another 20% of it happens on Apple. And then another 10% of it happens on Facebook. And then another 10% of it happens on Spotify.
Now, this man's grift is strong, but is it worth $50 million? This dude is sitting up here complaining about being able to earn $50 million. He's not even talented. I mean, that is right-wing YouTuber Steven Crowder complaining about a $50 million contract with Daily Wire. I mean, he got the pure unadulterated gall. You guys know how I love to quote Grandma. This is a brass A monkey moment right here with this dude. He's talking about he ain't gonna name names. No, dude, name the names. You big and bad, go ahead and name the name. Now, Daily Wire is a right-wing media company offering this person who has no talent $50 million. And he complaining about it. Now, how did this start? On Tuesday, Crowder launched a Stop the Big Con initiative and accused conservative media giants of being no better than big tech and putting profit over the honest defense of conservative values. Are you kidding me? I mean, this has to be a joke.
Yeah, it gets even more hilarious knowing that he wanted $120 million over 4 years. I mean, it just goes to show you why so many people on the left end up becoming grifters, because that's where the money is. And I'm not gonna name names here, we can, but like we know who we're talking about, who start off very progressive and now are saying all the things that right-wingers say. But it just, this whole story is really shocking to me because he's so brazen. So he is essentially currently setting himself up to be the next Daily Wire. And in order to do that, you have to make this big spectacle. You have to position yourself as the most virtuous conservative, untainted by big tech. And it's all part of his next grift. And I looked at the comments on his video. I shouldn't have done that because it killed my soul. And they're all buying it. It seems like they're buying it. They think, oh wow, he really is principled. He really is doing this for us. He's not doing it for you. He's doing this because he wants more money and he's greedy. He doesn't care about you. You're working probably a minimum wage job, if not minimum wage, perhaps a job that you hate, with your employer who exploits you, controls what time you have to be there, what you can wear, when you can go to the bathroom. And he's sitting here complaining because he was only offered $50 million. I mean, I can't even imagine. Like, this is why the left has such a difficult time competing with the right. It's not because they're more persuasive. Their message is not persuasive and everything that they say is wrong. It's because it's a numbers game. If you reach more people, if you get your message out there, you're just gonna appeal to more people. So this is just an insane story, and I hope that their feud continues, because the more that they expose each other, the more that we learn about the inner workings of the right-wing grifter sphere and just how much billionaire money is behind that. Because wow,
$50 million. You and I were talking about the Rush Hour movie. Mike, you take it away. Where?
Yeah, Chris Tucker, it reminded me of that scene where he said, $50 million, who do you think you got, Chelsea Clinton? I mean, Steven Crowder, you're not worth $50 million. You're the fact that he even has a platform is somebody who has that little talent, and I say little talent to be charitable, he has no talent, but he's just propped up by billionaires. That's it. That's it.
Stunning. And what was actually in the actual contract? The contract reads like a dream: 4 weeks of paid vacation, full editorial control over content, produce a staff to help promote and adapt content, and the right to retain ownership of any content Crowder produces prior to joining the Daily Wire. And this man is fixing his mouth, to quote my grandma, to complain. And don't forget, $50 million over a 4-year period with the possibility of an additional $25 million upon renewal. Seriously, dude. Now, Crowder complained that the proposal floated to him like the one from the Daily Wire was essentially slave contract. Now, let me straighten this dude out real quick. And I want y'all to hear me and hear me clearly. There is no such thing as a slave wage. Slaves didn't get a wage. You hear me? So maybe making low pay, which this dude's contract is far from low pay, but slave wages. See, he taking this a little too far. And Mike, the fact that you're saying that some folks believe him and are feeling sorry for him, that just tells me how wrong we are in this country. And remember, this was the same guy that tweeted this foolishness right here. Nothing says I'm full of SHIT like a guy literally begging to go back to the NFL after calling it just like slavery, the race baiting grift, not paying as well. You want to talk about grifting? Now, he was referring to Kaepernick. How dare he? Now, this is me right now. How dare he fix his mouth to say anything about Kaepernick, who has more talent in his pinky finger's nail than this dude has in his whole body. But meanwhile, let's put up this headline. President Biden brags about the numbers, but high inflation especially hurts Black and Hispanic Americans. So this stuff is real. It's really real in the field, you know? And now we have the Daily Wire co-founder and co-CEO Jeremy Boring responded and called it out. He called out Crowder as well he should. Take a listen. They all fighting each other.
And how would we stay in business? And Stephen, this is a very important point. Stephen, again, I think the most entertaining, talented person in the conservative movement. I think one of the most entertaining and talented people in entertainment generally in the country today has created a very successful content generation company, a very successful production company. But Stephen's never had to create the company that actually distributes, markets, and monetizes all of that content. You know, he talks in his video about being one of the only true independent conservative voices. And I find that incredibly offensive. You know, Stephen, the whole time I've known him, has worked for someone else, has been paid by someone else. That doesn't mean other people tell him what to say. He's a very independent voice, and that's good. So is Matt Walsh. So is Candace Owens. So is Ben Shapiro. So is Michael Knowles. So is Brett Cooper. But Stephen, you know, as much or more than any of them, a very independent voice. But he's not exactly a self-made man.
Well, you know, some of that stuff you said, I can agree with you. But Stephen coming for you. That's all this is about. He coming for you. He's going to be your competition. You sitting up here whining and begging this dude when you can pick him a dime a dozen. Ain't nothing special about Steven Crowder. Nothing at all.